Marinero Game 1 is in the books for the Montreal Canadiens. As far as the regular season is concerned, the Canadiens were visiting the Maple Leafs of Toronto, and unfortunately, it didn't end up like the last three games between the two teams ended up in the playoffs, because the Canadiens won Game 5, Game 6, and Game 7 of the first round of the playoffs last year, but they lost Game 1 of the regular season by a score of 2-1 in Toronto. It's the Sick Podcast. The show is brought to you by Essentia, the world's only natural memory foam mattress. Go to myessentia.com/sickpod and use code SICKPOD for a free pillow with your purchase. Essentia Beyond Organic Sleep. Speaking of sleep, that game put me to sleep last night. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. You want people to lie to you or to sugarcoat things, you go listen to another podcast. You go watch another podcast. It's not going to happen on this podcast. That game last night, the Montreal Canadiens played well for the first 9 minutes of that hockey game. They were all over the place. They had various scoring chances. Anderson had a scoring chance, a couple, Dvorak, Brett Kulak. I think the scoring chances were about 7-1 after about 9 minutes. And what a great story, with Dvorak, of course, causing a turnover with his pressure on Muzzin. And then the puck goes the other way, and the Canadiens come back on a 2-on-1. And Josh Anderson, who had only 8 assists, I think, or something crazy, a stupid low number like that, in all of last season, sets up Jonathan Drouin. And Drouin, who was away from the Montreal Canadiens, of course, for personal reasons last year, took a leave of absence, was not with them during the playoffs. He plays in the regular season. He plays in Game 1, and he scores in the Canadiens' first regular season game of the year, redirecting the pass from Josh Anderson past Jack Campbell. And Drouin with a smile on his face, Anderson with a smile on his face, the Canadiens, the entire bench with a smile on their face. It was very nice to see. And once you saw that, you're probably thinking, all right, you know what? I'm going out. I'm getting my Jonathan Drouin jersey. And you can get that at sportbuffshop.com for all of your officially licensed sports apparel and more. And even our sick merch. Use code SICK15 for 15% off on all of their items. After Drouin scored, instead of the Canadiens being on a high, it just seems like their play dipped a little bit. And after Engvall ties it at 1 with Romanov in the box, the Canadiens just lost their mojo. I don't know what happened, but the score's 1-1, and the Canadiens seemed like a team that just had very little life left in the game. I did like the Dvorak line with Anderson on his right and Drouin on his left. I liked them from the first shift until the last shift. I did. I was not crazy about the Evans line with Gallagher and Armia. I thought the line of Paquette, Perreault, and Lehkonen was okay, but it's a fourth line, so really, who cares? I thought Savard and Sherratt looked a little bit lackluster. I thought Kulak and Petrie were a little bit better. I thought Romanov and Wideman, this is not going to work. And I'm telling you right now, it's not. Dominic Ducharme can't wait for Joel Edmondson to come back in the lineup so he can put Brett Kulak on a third pairing, and Wideman has to come out of the lineup. Unfortunately for him, it's just he's not very reliable. He doesn't inspire much confidence. And the one thing he's supposed to do is be able to move the puck, get the offense going, get the transition going, and be able to probably help out on the power play on a second wave. The power play let the Canadiens down last night. It was so bad, I had several of these. I'm talking about Cherry River, hard seltzer, only 90 calories. Thank God, because I had like 5 last night. Natural flavors, no preservatives, now available in Quebec grocery stores and the beer store. So the game ended, I don't know, like 12 hours after that game is over, I still have to have a sip. Pardon me. The power play was really bad. I needed a sip. A little bit more. Here's the deal. The Canadiens are going to be in a huge battle to make the playoffs this year. Everybody knows that. Jeff Molson knows it. Marc Bergevin knows it. Dominic Ducharme knows it. And if it's not the case and they actually get in comfortably, I would be shocked. Not the first time I'm wrong, but I'm not wrong very often. It's going to be a battle. I don't like their chances. I have them finishing 5th in the division. The best I can see them finishing is actually 4th, but I think they're going to finish 5th. I wouldn't even be surprised if they finish 6th, but I will go with 5th. So I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. Without Carey Price for at least the first month of the regular season, the Canadiens are going to have to score goals on their power play. Their power play is going to have to be hot, and they're going to have to get goals from everybody. Yesterday versus Toronto, it seemed like they respected the Leafs too much after Toronto tied it up, and they should have got them going. They should have pounced on it. Listen, I understand the Canadians are without Price, and they lost Weber and for the season, and Phil Deneau's with another team, and Thomas Tatar is gone, and he's with another team as well, and Joel Edmondson is hurt, and I understand all of this stuff. But here's the deal. Austin Matthews, Toronto's number one centerman, their best player, arguably, was out of the lineup last night. One of the top 3 goal scorers, 4 goal scorers in the entire National Hockey League. He was out last night. Toronto didn't have much offense without him either. The Canadians had a Jake Allen who was playing well last night, thank God. If they would have opened up a little bit more and taken the game to Toronto, I think they would have stood a better chance. It just seemed to me that they feared Toronto a little bit too much. And that's not a, listen, the power play, the guy they missed the most last night was Mike Hoffman. Hoffman is the guy they missed most last night. They went 0 for 4 on the power play. They had 3 power play opportunities in the third period. 1 minute into the third, Nylander scores for Toronto, and the score is 2-1 for the Maple Leafs. Just over the 5-minute mark of period number 3, the Canadians go on a power play. Shortly thereafter, Toronto takes a second penalty, and now the Canadians have a 5-on-3 power play for 1 minute and 44 seconds. A minute and 44, they have a 5-on-3 power play. They mustered 1 measly shot on that entire power play, which was static. They weren't shooting enough. They weren't moving their feet enough. They weren't moving around enough. It was a very, very predictable power play. I've seen this movie about a Canadians power play that sucks over and over and over again. I'm sick and tired of seeing it. There's plenty of guys on that team that can score goals. I want to see a power play that can score goals. That power play last night was absolutely awful. If they have a terrible power play, they are going nowhere fast. They better turn it around. And even though it's still very early on in the season, and a loss versus the Buffalo Sabres is not the end of the world, we all know how important the first month is, and we all know that when you're in tough to make the playoffs, every point counts. And you don't want to look back. Several years ago, they finished with 96 points. Columbus finished with 99. And then you start looking back at the beginning of the regular season and start saying, oh, they should have picked up points here. They should have picked up points there. The Buffalo Sabres on paper, I think if you give me about an hour, I can place 20 phone calls, gather 20 guys, and put together a better hockey team than Buffalo. Am I exaggerating because this is a podcast? Yes, but I'm not exaggerating that much. I'm not. Trust me when I tell you that. They need to win this game versus the Buffalo Sabres. Versus Toronto, terrible power play. Suzuki's line did nothing. Evans' line struggled. The fourth line was okay. Dvorak's line was pretty good. Petrie and Kulak were not bad. Sherratt and Savard were, come see, come saw. Weidman and Romanov was not very good. Jake Allen was. Thank God they lose anyway. So now you probably want to make some cash. And my buddy who's going to help you make some cash is my buddy at Run My Bet. So let's see what play he has in the National Hockey League.
Money, 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 money.
It's time for Sick Picks. Brought to you by MyBookie.
All right, Cash. If you place your bets on MyBookie, you go to mybookie.ag/the Sick Podcast and use code SickPicks to double your deposit. Bet, win, get paid. Make me some money, my man. Make me some money.
What's happening, guys? Tough result with Montreal yesterday, but Tony said
Toronto.
It's a tough result with Montreal. That's true. He took Toronto. Guys, I'm going with what Tony said, and I didn't know what he was going to say. That I'm telling you guys this right now. Their game against the Buffalo Sabres, that's a big game. They're not going to want to fall down 0-2. This isn't even a bet on Montreal. It's a bet against the Buffalo Sabres. Guys, the Buffalo Sabres are 250-1 to win the Stanley Cup. They are the worst odds to win the Stanley Cup. This probably is one of the worst teams the NHL has seen in the last few years. I think Montreal is going to put that on display. It's not necessarily a revenge game, but a bounce back game from yesterday. I think the Buffalo Sabres are terrible. I think Montreal will win, and the number is too short, guys. The number is only minus 135 for Montreal. Put 2 units, guys. That's a great bet. I think Montreal is going to kill them. I could see 2-0, 3-0, 4-0, 4-1, something in that ballpark. I lean the under as well, but I really like Montreal. I'm going to drop one more piece of gold for you guys. The Nashville Predators. These guys are a bet-on team at the bottom half of the last year's season. The Nashville Predators really turned it on. They had a great series against Carolina. Yeah, they ended up losing, but still, they showed me something. I like them against the Seattle Kraken, guys. The Kraken almost came back against Vegas. The public saw that. The public loves the Seattle Kraken right now, the new team. They're going to be hammering them. Guys, no way. Give me the Nashville Predators. This is a team that's been together for a while. They didn't make that many offseason moves, but I like them to beat the Kraken, and they're only minus 115, guys. Get on the Nashville Predators. Get on Montreal. Let's go 2-0, guys. It's an easy day. It's a big day. I like today's plays for sure.
My buddy Cash, you can follow him at I Run My Bets. I'm Marinero, and you can follow the Sick Podcast, of course, via iHeartRadio app. Listen to it, and you can watch it on YouTube. I'm Marinero, the Sick Podcast.